All right. I'm Peter Brusso for One-on-One Small Business Mastermind, and Dick is with me. Say good morning, Dick.
Good morning, Dick.
All right, there you go. So it's just the two of us today. Frank is entertaining the doctors with something. So we're going to carry the show ourselves. No problem at all. All right, first things up, I want to share. I have a client, potential client, and going through their website, I talked to them. They wanted to start driving traffic to their website. So this prompted me to say, okay, here's a lesson for today. With anybody's site, with your site, the first things you got to do is make sure your site is ready for visitors. And what that means is, do you have good keywords in there? Is it user friendly? And where's the menu? Is it clear? Making sure that you don't do inverse video, et cetera, et cetera. And then it needs to be able to convert visitors into clients. So that's something that everybody seems to forget on a website is, what's the call to action? So once the site is prepared, right, picture sizes, video on the site, and it's looking great, that's the first thing you should do before you do anything else. In other words, make sure that your business, like your brick and mortar, is clean, it's ready to go, all of that stuff. And I got to make sure that I'm setting this. Yes, okay. So make sure your stock is in order, people are trained, all that stuff, and then you open the doors. So that's the same thing here. Then what you want to do is you want to make your social media accounts that make sense to your business. I'll show my client potential client in just a minute on the social media mess. And then start using that social media to drive traffic back to your site. And once you're doing this is all digital, then you have to jump out and decide what other forms of activities that you can do to bring traffic to your site. That is like mixers or even Yelp, as we talked about last week. Going to your competitors on Yelp and finding their dissatisfied clients and emailing them or messaging them from Yelp that you can fix the problem the next time you need something, consider me, whatever. But these are forms of other activities that people can do. So with that, I'll stop sharing and get back over here. There we go. So Dick, do you have any comment on that? And
no, it's something that you've talked about with me before, and with building my new website that you've taught me how to do. I've used that format to kind of ask myself the questions. Is it user friendly? All the things you just went over, and it's important that you ask that question yourself to make sure that you got the site going. With my site, I'm about, I'd say, from a content point of view, I feel really good about it, and I'm adding new content every day almost. But from the keyword part of it, I still am behind on that, and I've got to make that a focus over the weekend to start getting those keywords in, because that's obviously a very important part of it.
Right. Also in your case too. Let me bring up your site. In your case, we've had to ask the question, what are you selling, so to speak, right?
Right.
And making sure that we've got a user-friendly front end. I'm bringing up your site right now. All right, back over here. Focus is on me. I want to share the richardbentley.us site here. All right, so here we are, and one of the big key things is that these are kind of like steering mechanisms right here. You don't want to be an associate, you want protection, or you want small business, and so that's been really important for us to make sure that is all working right. We also put a new YouTube site up for you. Yep. For your YouTube that's going to be up on your site too. We'll be talking about that, but you can see in your case right now, the font size is sufficient enough that you can read it easily. This is my potential client, Hill Electric. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So he had a previous group of people do this, and they didn't do a half bad job overall. But here, like there's no call to action, so the site really isn't ready. Plus, you can see that the font size is kind of small. And here's all this ridiculous social media they signed him up for. Some of them don't go anywhere. They didn't finish signing them up. So, but a lot of this stuff doesn't make any sense, for him. That's why I said in my first piece there, get social media that makes sense to your business. So that's that.
Peter, just to jump in, I think that's a really important statement you just said, is that makes sense to your business, because with all those icons he has, it's almost distracting as far as which one to go with, what they are. I think you get a visitor confused. So like with myself, I just use LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, because those are key to my business. The rest of them, I don't think fit what I'm trying to do. So I think that was a very key point you just had there. So.
Yeah, well, for you, you have Facebook, you have G Plus, obviously.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, Twitter, now your new YouTube account, because we're going to be starting doing these 2.5-minute videos, and an offsite blog, which is strategically good. You've been doing a lot of good content building here in your blogging, your recent posts here.
Yeah.
But we also have to do those too and put those out on Blogger.
Right.
Or you write one for the site and then spin it and put one out for Blogger.
Yeah, I've done a couple of those. And if you look at the bottom, you talk about call to action. At the bottom of that page is the call to action is watch the video. It's 30-minute video. There's a call to action to that page too. So
right here.
Yeah. A
call to action. We might want to make it stronger by bolding it, but I mean, these are all things that. What do you want your visitor to do? Do you want them to click and watch a video and then sign up? Do you want them to send you an email? What do you want them to do? You got to tell them. And a site that doesn't tell them what to do, they just kind of wander around, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that's important for any site. And like this one here, it talks a little bit about outdoor lighting and stuff. But I mean, and this guy's a nice guy. My gosh, he's just a sweetheart of a guy. And they don't have any movies. They have a movie on the first page, but again, none of this stuff. I mean, if you're going to do this, you should have it in a movie and discuss the lighting and how you did it, and custom lighting. This should be, in his case, literally a video on every page, in my opinion. People don't like to read, and again, this is all a lot of reading to be done. So, and he has an on-site blog, which is interesting. But these were done. Well, this is August 15th, August 1st, July 28th, July 15th, July 1. So the company that did this basically posted 2 times a month on his site for him. So, but yeah, get it ready. Get your home in order for. And this is really interesting. If you look at this one, what they did when they set up his Facebook, they talked home improvement. He's not a home improvement guy. He puts in lighting and stuff, but he doesn't add cabinets or add a room. I mean, I think that's kind of misleading with what they said here, home improvement. As I get into that later, I'll fix some of that if they hire me. But otherwise, and here's duplicate content. They put the same stuff in here that they did over there. But you notice there's no conversation. It's just, here's an article. And what do we say about social media, Dick?
It's conversation, stupid.
That's right. And they violated this right away without trying to. I mean, sometimes you do have to, in fact, post stuff out there to try to get somebody to comment on it. But if you can get some followers, and 7 people like this, so he may have 7 followers. I don't know. I'll have to get into his account and find out how many followers he's got. But and the follow plus button isn't there. I don't know why that's not working, but that could be just Google, or that could be Facebook, you know. Anywho, so some of these things, let me see. This is his G Plus page, social media, and we have one person in the circle. That's it. That they've not pushed anything out there. They haven't put up his photos, other than it's just his logo, which I don't like his logo. Why would you have a light bulb scratching its head? Like, I don't know what to do. Does that make any sense to you?
No, not really.
Why is the light bulb scratching his head?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
And I don't mean to put him down, but you know, these are. And here's the merchantcircle.com. I guess they got that going for him. But again, there's not much of anything there. So it looks like they set up accounts, but really haven't been working them.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know. This one here, I think there was one in here. Oh, this is Manta. Manta's not a bad thing for people to put to put their stuff in. But here is a logo so big, you know, because they didn't do specific art for all of these social medias, as you saw this last week, Dick, with YouTube.
Right.
You know, we get the correct size, and you put it up there, and it's not the correct size, and we had to keep playing with it to get it the correct size for your YouTube account.
Yeah.
So, and this looks to be the same way. So those are nice directions, aren't they?
Yeah.
The hell is that?
Didn't even give the street names.
I know it. I think maybe you have to pay extra for that. I don't know. This is Manta. That's YP. I thought I had one of these in here that didn't go anywhere. Got a Twitter account. There's one tweet. Just setting up my Twitter account. Let's see, May 19th of what year?
Yeah.
This year, I guess. Oh, 2015. Yeah, you see, they use it a lot.
Yeah.
Again, you know, one good thing that this company did, his URL is electricianpalmdesert.com. So they went after a matched URL. It used to be Hell Electric, I think, you know, which no one would ever search for. So that's real good matched URL. Okie dokie. I guess we beat that one to death. Let me stop sharing here now. Get back over.
Just a comment on the overall segment, Peter. The one thing that you've really taught me, and I shouldn't say the one thing, but one of the main things is the attention to detail, and you just don't throw a website up and say you have a website. That there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of thought that goes into it. It takes time. It's a living document. If you just put it up like that Twitter account and do nothing with it, you're really not on Twitter. So I've learned that is absolutely something that you have to spend time on, and you have to plan it, you have to look at it, and you have to try to look at it under the eyes of a new person just Googling finding you. Right. That's one thing. We've a couple of comments I got on some other things that I was doing. It wasn't clear. It was clear to me, it's clear to Peter, but it wasn't clear to people we wanted to impact with it. So I think you just have to really take it on as, hey, this is an ongoing process that either you or someone that knows what you want works every day. Right.
It's almost like these days you should have, like you have a sales manager or general manager for your store, you have a general manager for your website, and that's all they do. Yeah. They work social media and your website and work hand in hand with the brick and mortar, and Perch does that. Yeah. They have a whole team, Yeah. Of course, they're multi-million-dollar corporations, so the small guys struggle at this, but and if you can't afford to do it, then you learn to do it, Right. You can't afford not to. It's like my standard question comes down to People ask me what's it going to cost for a website. That's not the right not the right question. You should be asking yourself what's it going to cost you if you don't have a good website. That's the question.
Yep, absolutely. And Peter's right. If you can't afford to pay somebody to do it, you have to do it yourself. But if you can get someone like a Peter that's is not just a great technician with the website, but is also an excellent marketing mind that can really, be an extension to any company that he deals with. You pay the guy to do it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, oh, I agree. Not just because it's about me, but there's a bunch of me's out there that can do this stuff for people too.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about your 2.5-minute video. Let me give you an introduction to that. People that may have followed us or may not have. And I started with a 40-minute video to prospect for clients about their website, and it was all individually done and all that stuff. But who's going to sit down for 40 minutes? A lot did, but a lot didn't either. So I asked myself, and I remember it exactly. I was driving down the road and called Dick. I said, Dick, you know what? If I only had 2.5 minutes, what could I do in 2.5 minutes that makes it special? That's our challenge. And so I ended up coming up with this 2.5-minute video thing that I've been doing for swimming pool people in particular, where I customize it and then send it to them. And my opening rate right now is 58% on a cold email. That's absolutely off the chart number. You're lucky if you get if a good campaign will get you 1.5% opening rate. And so 58% is just, like I say, off the charts, out of this world, whatever you want to call it. And of the 58, almost 90% of them watch the video more than one time. So they were interested. They maybe sent it around to their marketing people. Maybe they sent it to their web people. I don't know. And out of that, I've generated at least 3 good potential clients out of I think my mailing was only at this point like 25, so I meant even that's a good number, so
that's a great number.
Yeah, so I think there was something to that. And so I said, hey, Dick, just based on what I'm seeing, we need to produce a 2.5-minute video roughly for you to hunt for Legal Shield. And I'll kick it over to you. What did we do, Dick?
Well, to give you a little background, as Legal Shield, I'm an associate with Legal Shield, and we offer individual plans, small business plans, and we have a groups benefit program that employees can offer, Legal Shield to their employees. It doesn't cost the company anything, and the employees get a little bit of a break on the monthly membership. My problem with this program is getting to talk to the right person. One, first finding out who the right person is, and second, getting an appointment, because the gatekeepers there are very protective of their people there, and which is rightfully so. I'm sure they get inundated with people. So, talking with Peter, we said, how can I tailor his program to mine? Because mine is a little different, because I still didn't know the names and email addresses of anybody. But anyways, we put together, and with Peter's help, we kind of wrote the script and everything, and then Peter has this equipment where you can, record, and he does a great job. It's really a professional program that he has, and it makes my video seem, I think, very professional. So we did it, and it came out to be, at the first pass, it was almost exactly, it was like 10 seconds over 2.5 minutes. And I sent it to some friends of mine that are in business and asked their opinion. And, a couple came back and said, hey, it's really good, but a couple came back and said they weren't sure what I was trying to say there. So we had to adjust, and I take their advice because I respect them. I take their advice, and they also pointed out some spelling errors I had made. So I think lesson 1 is, to Peter's point, make sure your site's ready for visitors. Well, if you do something like this, make sure it's ready for eyeballs, because mine wasn't. And so we went back and kicked around some ideas, and so we put a kind of an opening, written opening, not a voice opening, explaining what the video was about. And I think that makes a big difference. And so we're at the point now. I'm at the point now where I've written the email, and I've got, I think, a good subject line, copying Peter's, and I've got an email that explains what it's about, and we're ready to go. So that's where we are right now.
So the interesting part, I think, of some of that is let's talk about the mechanics here, because if people wanted to do a similar thing, the first thing you have to realize is we're sending out a cold email to somebody. They don't know us, and that subject line becomes the most important piece of the entire campaign, because if we can't, with that subject line, if we can't get them ready to look into the ad copy, we're dead in the water. We're done. Put a fork in us. We're not going to go any further. So that headline, that subject headline, typically needs to have a U in it, okay, and not a sheep, a U, and show that you did something special for them. That will lead them. Why would they do that, or what did they do? And it just slides them right into the ad copy. And at that ad copy, your call to action is click this link, YouTube link, to watch what I did for you, so to speak. And that they're off to the YouTube.
Right. Well, let me
so
jump in on the ad copy of the email. I wrote up what I thought was really a brilliant little blurb, and sent it to my buddy here, and within about 5 minutes, too long. You got to redo this, do that. And the message was, I mean, once I read it and I worked it a little bit more, I realized he's so right, because nobody's going to read 2 paragraphs of information. So I had to make kind of bullet point sentences to get their attention, and I probably cut it by 50%. And I still think I got the message I wanted to get across. So don't be too wordy in that body of the email either.
Yeah, and try to adopt the new standard on websites is a paragraph is only no more than 3 sentences.
Right. Yeah.
So they call word bites. So the people, they see a big long block, they're going to get the Steve Wilson effect. I'm not going to read that. I can't go there. I can't watch I got too long. Videos too long. I'm not going to do that. And so to stop that, coined now Steve Wilson effect. He doesn't know how famous he's gotten. Break that email down, into really super easy bite-sized reading bites, and get to that call to action. Get them to click that button to go over to the video. Yeah. Right. Really important, the anatomy of a good email. Maybe we should cover that one day.
Yeah. Absolutely, because it's an email marketing campaign that I'm trying to kick off and get my message to the right person. So.
And now the next question comes down to, okay, so we got a good headline, good subject headline. We've got a reasonable email, we think. We've done a video. Well, who do we send it to, Dick? And that's what I'd like you to talk about next.
Okay, well, with Peter's tutoring and prompting, we set yesterday, because of the long weekend, we didn't want to send emails out on Tuesday because people are really just inundated, getting back. And so I set yesterday afternoon to do it. And I had been doing some legwork with a company called Reference USA. Now, Reference USA.
I'll bring up their website while you're talking about that. How about that?
Right. If you out here in the Coachella Valley, if you are a library member, you can get the Reference USA for free. And Peter's going to bring up the front page of it so we can talk to it. And I started using that. And what you can do is I'll wait till he brings it up so you okay, you can see, library locator, all that stuff. I use the Palm Desert Library. But you can see the business databases, okay? There's 24 million U.S. businesses. Okay, from that, you can custom your search to a zip code, which I put the Palm Desert zip code in it. And from there, you can customize your search to, obviously, you want the company's name, the company executives, their website, number of employees. You can get a list. Like I want to target between 20 and 49 uh, employee companies to start out with. So I put that in. You can put in, I think it's up to like 15 different criteria to customize your search. And when you do that, you hit the button to get it started, and up comes the list of okay, there you go. Every company that meets your criteria in your zip code. In Palm Desert, I had something like 392 names, and from there you got to filter out because there are companies that like Wendy's and McDonald's that fits that from a demographic point of view, but they're not part of it. So you do all that. So I did all that, and I had my lists and everything. But then yesterday, when I went to send out the emails, I realized there's no email addresses on these things. So Peter had said use their website, the contact me list to do it because he did it with the pool people, and I started to do that, and then I noticed they have a service, it's a paid service, where they manage your mailing list for you. So I call them, talk to them, and I haven't signed up for you because I have some more questions, but for $99, I could get email sent to 325 companies, and I can get supposedly I can get it right to a benefits person or human resource person, and they manage the campaign. That's one option. So, I want more information on how they manage it, what the visibility is, and all that. And the second option is for $99, I can buy 200 email addresses that, again, are supposedly hooked to benefits of human resource people. Haven't decided which way to go. I'm leaning towards letting them manage it, but like I say, I want to get some information. The point is, this is a free tool that you can use, be it on a local basis. If you want to cover the United States, you can get zip codes anywhere in the United States. You can customize it, you break it down. It's really it's an amazing tool. And all you have to do is be a library member, which any library in Riverside County gets you access to this. So, and there you can see some of the things that
Exactly.
you can do,
The
so.
business type, geography, phone, business
Yeah.
size, and here's business type, and so you can get in here.
Yeah.
Here's agricultural,
Yeah.
mining, construction. Here's retail, trade,
Right.
and then that breaks down into other categories. So you can really get down to narrowcast your stuff.
Yeah.
But pretty cool.
I think it's great. Obviously, the proof's going to be in the pudding. What is going to be the response rate back? But when you think of the percentages, if 325 qualified, and these people have agreed to have their email address used for things like this, so the chances are when they see it come from them, they're going to open it. But 325 qualified people that I could, if I said go today, they would have them out tomorrow. That to me is astounding. And if I got even less than Peter's percentages, if I got 4 or 5 people to sign up for the group program, I mean, this would be paid for itself 10 times over, and I would use it again for different zip codes around the country. But I just thought it would be good for everybody to be aware of Reference USA if you're not, and see how you could fit in your business, because it's free unless you want to do a marketing campaign.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I've harvested stuff from that for another client. So, and it was all free for me. You can get so many downloads a day for free. But I think it's a great resource. I'll have a link in the show notes with that, and kind of go from there. All right. Hopefully that's helpful to a lot of people. referenceusa.com. Excuse me. All right, let's go. Unfortunately, you had a death in your extended family. But let's go back and talk about Gordon Marshall. There's some good lessons here. So let's hear a little bit of historical lesson of Gordon Marshall. You know, how you ended up, all that kind of good stuff.
Okay. I spoke briefly about it last week. Gordon Marshall, the founder of Marshall Industries, passed away in July. He was a big booster and graduate of USC, and so the USC put on a memorial service for Gordon a week ago yesterday. And you know, I drove into LA from here, my wife and I, and this 3 hours in and 3 hours back, and it gave me a lot of time to kind of reflect on the man. And there was a lot. Obviously, the service was like an hour of tribute to him, so there's a lot said about him. And briefly, you know, he comes from humble beginnings, like I said last week, and his family had the entrepreneurial spirit in their blood. They had 5 or 6 different businesses, and so Gordon, I guess, inherited this an entrepreneurial spirit of his. He was a bomber pilot in World War II, B-24s, 27 missions over Germany, and when he joined the army, he said, "I want to be a pilot, and I want to be a pilot because I don't want to have to worry about anyone else saving my life. I want to do it myself." And his mission was, for him, his crew of 7, was to survive the war and all come back alive, which they did. And just a little side story, I don't know if I said last week, but he was an accountant major when he graduated, but he still wanted to be a pilot. He loved flying, so he applied for airlines for a commercial pilot's thing, and they gave him this battery of tests, and they said to him, you know, you'd be much better off as an entrepreneur running a business. He says, you're not meant to be a pilot. You're meant to run your own business. And he started out his business as a manufacturer's rep. His first line was poker chips, and his first check was under $2.
Poker chips.
Poker chips, right? It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he then got hooked up with, as electronics were just coming out, and at the time it was vacuum tubes, and that's when I got in the business. I first sold vacuum tubes. That thing. So he hooked up with Hughes Aircraft and a couple of the military companies, and he started making a lot of money as a manufacturer's rep. And then he opened up a distributorship for electronic components called Marshall Industries, and he was chairman of the board when we sold the company to our largest competitor for. We were doing $1.8 billion in sales, so that's from a couple bucks worth of poker chips to almost $2 billion worth of electronic components, and obviously he saw the real radical change in the electronics world and what it did to the productivity of the businesses, and I did too. I mean, like I said, I started out selling 6AU6 tubes and ended up selling microprocessors and dynamic memories and all. So I've seen the whole change from vacuum tubes to transistor to diodes, the whole thing. So anyways, what I want to say from an entrepreneurial part, and I reflected on this, is the most important thing he did for his business was create a culture that he wanted. Okay, he wanted, his culture was the customer. You service your customer, you take care of your customer, and I know I mentioned it, but he would not allow the screen calls. I mean, I was executive vice president of the company, and I had an assistant sitting out there. If my phone rang, I picked it up. I answered it. If she answered it, she couldn't ask who's calling. If I had 10 callbacks, he made me commit that before I went home that day, I would do all my callbacks. I'd leave nothing on the table. Didn't believe in cubicles and all in the main office. He thought people should be open. Realized that smoking was bad for his employees, and he banned smoking about 10 years before everyone else started doing it. And as you probably could imagine, that wasn't well received, but he stood up in front of everybody and said, "I'm doing it for your good." He had a strong conviction of how the company he wanted should be run and how his customers should be treated, how his employees should be treated, and how his suppliers should be treated. and it's all with respect, dignity, and honesty. That's really the way he. I don't think the man ever lied to me once. And and we've had some tough discussions that he could have skirted, but he just took them head on and answered them. And may not have liked the answer, but yeah, I knew I had the straight scoop. So I'm thinking for people who are, if it's a one person business like mine, or if you have 30 or 40 employees, you as a leader of the company have to establish the culture you want in your company. There's, one of the things, uh, we took up the Deming process of quality control, and that was that we did a lot of things, but one of the things, we were the first company that stopped paying individual commissions, all the commissions to salespeople and people. We started paying group, if the corporation did, a certain amount of profit, the company, the employees get part of it. And one of the things that I always remember, and I'm not sure where it came from. I can't attribute it to, but it was some kind of. It might have been the GE school I went to, a management school. But the person said, as a manager, the people are going to listen to what you say, then they're going to watch what you do, and they'll do what you do. So if you stand up there and say, I don't screen my calls, but then I have somebody screen my calls, they're going to screen their calls. If they say I'm lying to them, they're going to figure that's the deal. So you just remember that if you have anyone working for you, they're going to listen to what you say, they're going to watch what you do, and then they'll do what you do, not what you say. And I think it's important as leaders of companies that you instill whatever you want. If you believe that calls should be screened, that's fine. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it that way, but it's got to be your culture, your company, and your leadership that's going to dictate how your employees are going to feel, how your customers are going to feel. And the other thing that we never did is we never had an answering machine. In fact, we had it so and this was long before anyone else did it. We had it that a customer could reach us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And they would get a human being answering the phone. They wouldn't get an answer machine. That's why to this day, when I get these automated calls, I cringe. I get a knot in my stomach. I hate them because I was on, trying to think of the company yesterday. I couldn't get a human being. I could not get a human being. It's impossible. So I hung up, and it just doesn't make sense. So again, that was our culture. If you like answering machines, fine, but make sure that you're using them right and you keep in mind what your customers are looking for. So I think that the message I just wanted to relay is that Gordon was, I learned more about managing people, setting directions, following a culture, and running a business from him than I ever could have learned at the Harvard Business School. I mean, it just was there, and he lived it, he breathed it. I missed him, and I love him, and but he set the example for when it was a poker chip company to a $1.8 billion company. Those beliefs never changed. So I just wanted to pass it on from a small business lesson point of view, and that gets you guys thinking about if you have employees, what do they think about the culture with the direction? What do your customers think? Ask them. You'd be amazed sometimes just how your impressions are wrong of what you think your customers think of you. So that's kind of
it. That's good. And one of the things I think the big chunk of gold that fell out of that conversation is that leaders establish the culture of a company.
Absolutely.
And you have to decide for yourself, what culture do you want in your company, and then lead to that, and then everybody will follow, just like you said.
Right.
I've had 2 conversations with with one pool and another company, but they're not busy, and they need to be busy. So I suggested right away that, hey, here's what you go do. You go network, you go to this place, you go to that place. Well, I don't have time for that. Well, you're not busy. What do you have time to do? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Mm.
probably what they were trying to say is I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to do that.
Mm.
That's probably a better statement. And the other one wants to have more business, and but he doesn't want to pay anybody to help him build more business, and he doesn't also want to get out of his comfort zone to go get more business. So I don't know what you do with that. That's just paint yourself in a corner. And but if you're not busy, then you should be out there with mixers. If you're not busy, you should be emailing and trying to pick up the phone and talk with people and think out of the box and network and ask people about your company. Start building your company, but you don't have time. So there's a point there where busy work seems to take over because we are fearful of building our company. And that's a cancer. That's a cancer waiting to happen. Yeah, go ahead, Dick.
You're absolutely right, and if the pull company guy or not. I mean, if it's just you, if just take me. Okay, I'm a company of one. I mean, I have Legal Shield, obviously, but as far as my home business, it's my business, and there's no one else. My wife helps me, but she doesn't take direction good for me anyway. So, but I'm a company one. So I established my culture. Okay, and you say, oh, how do you do that? Well, I mean, I could not go to the mixers. I could not, get up and do things. I could not work on the website. I could not do a lot of things. Or I could decide, hey, I got to be proactive and I got to make things happen, and, like we've talked earlier, podcasts, I said, there's two types of people, those who make things happen and those who wonder what the hell happened.
Yeah,
I want to
like
be the person that makes it happen and makes it go. And one of the things I going back to Gordon and the culture, I know I talked about this last week, but pretty much every day, or most days at the end of the day, we'd sit in his offices, have a drink, and he'd say, "Okay, what'd you do today?" Then I tell him, "Well, why'd you do that?" And not in a mean, challenging way, just getting me to think, "Why did I do that?" So that was ingrained in me. At the end of pretty much every day, I asked myself, "What did I do today? Why did I do that? Was it good for my business?" And I do a kind of a brain dump at the end of each day, and I have to be honest myself. Some days I'm happy, some days I just want to kick myself in the butt. But I do go through that exercise every day, and it goes back to going in his office, having a drink, and having him ask me. And it was a great, I think it was a valuable half hour or so every day. So
one of the things too is I know I'm kind of pushing you a little bit. I say, okay, what's our schedule? Here we got to get this done. Got to get that done. This Wednesday we ought to have everything ready to rock and roll.
Right.
And having somebody from outside your company remind you of what you got to be doing to stay on track. So one of the big challenges of being a solopreneur is you can get sidetracked so darn easily.
Right.
It's like, oh shoot, I should have been doing that, or I should have been making this proposal. Shoot, what was I thinking? So being a solopreneur is a tough thing. It's probably the toughest thing you'll ever do.
Yeah. And Peter, that's a great point as far as having someone that obviously outside, if you're a company and one are outside your company, but having someone that will do that and care enough about you to take the time. Because I know we started a long weekend, and I think we were talking Friday. Says, okay, what's our goals for the weekend? You got to do this, Dick. You have to have this done by that, and you got to spend 3/4 of the day writing that email on Monday, Labor Day, and all, and I could easily on Labor Day say I don't feel like doing it, but then I said no, gee, I got to get it to Peter. So that's a real key point. It's a good point. It's good to have an associate or an ombudsman that can help you when you need it.
Right. I actually didn't even know what an ombudsman was for many years.
Yeah.
My Jewish doctor kept saying, "What the hell is that? An ombudsman? Somebody takes the buzz out of somebody, or the buzz out of the bees, or what is that?"
Yeah.
But yeah, that's and I think the same goes true. When you ask about, oh, how's my opening rate, or you seen any traffic, any business, and that's always good stuff. And then in the back of my mind, like I'll come back and remind you, gee, we've got to get all those meta descriptions done on the page
Yeah.
of your site, which we do, by the way.
Yeah.
But now, like you pointed out, we have to SEO it. We have to get in there with some keywords and try to
Yeah.
push that. And so
Right.
one thing's one thing's for solopreneurs, you can get in overwhelmed pretty quickly. Like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. What do I do? And because there's so much to do, you don't do anything because you don't know what to do. And so my suggestion is to day part your day, your time. So like from 8 to 10, you're going to work on this, and from 10 to noon, you're going to work on that. Now, that's always a plan. Like in the military, our plan is to do this, land here, go here. The first shot goes past your ear. The hell with the plan. I'm running that way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it happens in the real life too.
Yeah.
In your small business. So
Yeah.
I always suggest with such big sweeping things that we have to go do, it's best to put it in like a chest of drawers. You open this drawer, you're going to work in whatever's on that drawer for 2 hours. You're going to close that drawer and open the next one and work in there. That's what Napoleon used to do.
Mm.
Matter of fact, he was interviewed, and the journalist asked him, "Well, how do you get everything done?" He was an inventor. He did this and that, and he said, "Well, life's like a chest of drawers, and you just open that drawer and you work on it, and then close it." And that was a good analogy, I think.
Yeah. And,
For
and I agree 100% with you. I try and do that with my day. The thing that, just getting back to me and the meta tags and the SEOs, I'm not good at it. It's not glamorous. It's something that has to be done,
has to be
and
done.
it has to be done, and you have to do it. And human nature says, well, I'm going to put that one at midnight to 2 o'clock or something,
Right,
But
right.
you have to, you have to just get up and say, okay, I got to do it. And I'm planning this weekend to do those things and get them done once and
You
for
know,
all. So
the analogy of that in the brick and mortar world is your signs in your store.
yeah,
If you don't have your signs up to direct people to where you want them to go to buy their specials or whatever, that's like meta tags. That's what Google looks
yeah,
at
yeah,
to decide who to send traffic to.
yeah,
So a meta tag is very much like an in-store sign
yeah,
for that particular page that you have. And of course, SEO is kind of like going out to mixers, and putting an ad in the newspaper or the phone book ads and stuff like that.
yeah,
That's like the analogy from SEO is to go
yeah,
do that. So yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
that's good stuff. All
Yeah,
right.
right.
Anything else you want to cover, Dick?
No, I think we've covered a lot today, and just to reiterate, it goes back to the leader of the business, be it like you say, a singlepreneur or somebody with 30 employees. The leader sets the tone.
Yes, absolutely. We even see that you've been sitting around tables with me, and I consult, with one company in town, and I turn to them. The problem with your company is leadership.
Right,
You're not leading.
right,
You're letting stuff just happen,
right.
and your employees don't care, and because you're not leading them, and
Right.
and his problem with his company is not a product, and he's got a great product, and he's got
Yeah.
great service, and he's got usually a pretty good group of individuals. It's lack of good quality leadership to
Sure.
take that company to the next level.
And may I just add into that leadership is consistency. You
Oh, right,
can't you can't be, well, I'm this today and tomorrow we're gonna do that. You have to be consistent in your vision for what you want the company to be. You have to be a consistent manager. People can't be wondering, geez, what's Dick's mood today? Because everybody has good days and bad days. But if you're leading yourself or 1,000 people, you have to be consistent in your
right.
beliefs and your actions and everything. So that's a key point that goes with it.
And consistency is certainly there too, and lead by example, like you
Right.
talked about.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't be the do as I say and not as I do
Right.
person.
Right.
And by the way, that's also all these people that say, well, these CEOs of these companies get a horrible amount of money. I mean, an obscene amount of money compared to the worker.
Yeah.
Well, those are the reason why is they've gone through the school of hard knocks to
Right.
lead an entire
Right.
company, and that ain't easy, and that
No.
talent doesn't happen
No.
everywhere.
No. Not at all.
Leaders for companies, a rare case. And just because you're
Right.
smart enough to get a company going doesn't mean you're smart enough to be the right leader.
Absolutely. Oh
You
man,
know,
that's for sure. That's for sure.
and particularly with these companies that are family owned. Oh, what
Yeah.
a nightmare! What a nightmare!
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you're working with people and aunts and uncles and cousins
Right.
and brothers and sisters, and you
Yeah.
can't fire them.
No.
Though they know that they're immune to all of that, all they
Yeah.
have to do is show up, and get a freaking paycheck, because you
Yeah.
know, daddy's going to protect me or
Right.
something. You know,
Yeah.
one of my famous stories, as you well know, is I took over a family-owned company on one condition, in that the owner did everything I told him to do without question, and he agreed. And I told him, fire this person who was his daughter, and he did it.
Wow. Yeah.
And you know that,
Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
But it absolutely had to happen.
Right.
And he knew it. I guess I was the excuse, so to speak. Well, I just made this agreement, and
Right.
we're going to try to, you know. So, yeah. So those are tough things when you're a
Yeah.
solopreneur and have to make those kinds of decisions.
Yeah.
Of course, a solopreneur by definition doesn't have anybody, just
Right.
has themselves. But as your company grows,
Right.
you know, you will be the yardstick, the gold standard, whatever you want to say, for the rest of your
Right.
people.
Absolutely.
You know, if you slack off a bit each day because it's been a hard day, they're going to slack off.
Sure.
You know,
Absolutely. You know, one of my business heroes is Jack Welch, who used to run General Electric, and I've been in the, you know, to his management training school in Croton and all. But one of the things he required each division of his company every year was to evaluate the bottom 5% performers in each division, and either get them on go or let them go. And he said, because if you don't, all of a sudden 5% is your 10%, it's your 15%. It's just a growing thing. And he was one of the most successful CEOs ever. So.
Yep. And a good employee today won't make a good employee tomorrow too. They change.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
so you got to change. It's dynamic. You
Yep.
got to hang in there with them. And I've seen companies too, on the flip side, get so dynamic that they got crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and so the leader needed to
Yeah.
chill it out and give it a little bit more focus, but they're all over the place.
Yeah.
You know?
That's for sure.
And they get confused about what they're selling. It's like going to a restaurant, and you can buy food there at the restaurant. You can have a massage. So you have your teeth checked, right, and cleaned.
Yeah.
Dry cleaning done in the corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, what are you?
Yeah.
You know, what is your
Absolutely.
identity? You know,
Good
what
point.
is it that you do?
Yeah.
And none of those are concentric type of businesses. You know, a
Absolutely.
restaurant could have a catering side, no question. I mean,
Yeah.
that makes sense, right? A
Right.
restaurant could have a cooking school, no problem. A
Right.
restaurant could have a wine appreciation class and stuff
Right.
like that. Yeah, but dry cleaning,
Yeah. Beauty
acupuncture,
power. Yeah.
foot massage,
Yeah.
you know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, well, there was a bar in Bangkok that had something like that, but we won't go there.
No, don't go there.
Whilst you drank beer.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh boy.
No.
Anyway,
All
so we shall not be confused with that.
Yes.
If this wasn't live, I'd be cutting that out about
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You can't take
Yeah.
me anywhere, Dick.
No.
And yesterday even, let's talk about fractured business tales for just a second.
Yeah.
You'd never gone to Panda Express, so we went, and right when we were going to check out, they lost power. Well, they didn't know what to do, and there was a manager. Remember that manager standing in my right?
Yeah.
He couldn't make a decision.
He was absolutely frozen.
Right, and so they wanted us to stand there as our food was getting cold, our drinks are getting hot.
Yeah.
And I said, well, we're just going to go eat. When you get it up, we'll come over and pay. Right. That's about what we did, and they felt uncomfortable about that.
Yeah, they did.
They almost like we were trying to rip them off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she ran over to get my name, you know, after about 5 or 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And then once I got the register up, she asked me to come over and pay for the food.
Yeah.
interrupt my
Right. It's
dinner.
your meal. Yep.
Uh, is that
Yeah.
the any way to treat anybody?
No, it isn't. And I said I said, it's amazing how screwed up these people are. They don't. None of them know what to do. All they should have said is go eat, and when we get it settled, you pay. That's it.
We'll settle up. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll settle
Yeah.
up. We'll figure it out. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, maybe my joke about, gee, you lost power and I can't pay for it, food's free. Maybe they didn't like that comment.
Maybe, but yeah.
Maybe I set the whole thing off. I hadn't thought about that until just
I'm
about now.
surprised. I'm surprised they didn't padlock the door.
Uh,
Make sure
Come
we
out and
sneak
shackle
out.
us to the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah. That's for
Shackle
sure.
us to
Yeah.
the table until we
Yeah.
pay.
Yeah.
But
But the food was good. That's
the
one
food
good
is good.
thing. Yeah.
I like Panda Express typically.
Yeah.
But the home office ought to have some kind of training for that.
Yeah.
We lose power out here in the summer, in the desert quite often.
Yeah.
I lost it again 2 times yesterday.
Yeah.
And thank God for UPS backups.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
computer stays alive till I can get everything taken care of.
Yeah.
Of course, no internet, no Wi-Fi, no anything else. But
Mm.
um, these kinds of natural disasters were kind of taking a turn. But as a leader, you got to think about
Right.
what do you do,
Right.
and safety first,
Yeah.
and customers first, and um, the rest
No,
doesn't matter.
yeah. It was an interesting study just to watch how they panicked and didn't know what to do.
Well,
And it had been so basic with what to do. It was silly.
it was silly. But on the flip side, I was thinking this morning too, electricity has absolutely changed the human race.
Mm.
Think about it.
Yeah.
If we didn't have electricity, we wouldn't be talking on this stuff. We wouldn't have
Right.
computers. We wouldn't be doing
Oh,
any of
yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah.
No lights, no anything. I
Right.
mean, what it has done to move the human race forward is phenomenal.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
And
Yeah.
it was very obvious yesterday when they had no electricity. These people
Yeah.
didn't know what to do.
What to do?
What to do.
They were lost.
And I would be surprised to think that the water didn't work because the electricity was off.
Probably not.
Yeah, so it was, and that manager was absolutely starstruck. I mean, he was gobsmacked.
Right. He couldn't even talk. We say, well, we'll take him. He just didn't even talk. He just stood there.
He stood there.
Yeah.
I think your Bev wasn't going to put up with this shit anymore. No. She just took her plate and went over there. That's it. We're going out of your guys' confusion, and then we followed. But
yeah, no, yeah. There's my wife just said, "I'm going over. Sit down."
Yeah. She should have told. She should. I guess by her actions, her leadership actions, there, she told the manager what you should be doing.
That's right. That's right.
But so funny stuff. So.
Yep.
All right, Dick. Well, we made it through the whole hour.
Yeah.
Golly.
Yeah.
Carried the day. Carried the day.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else?
No. Yes. Good night, Dick.
We'll say good night, Dick. Then hang on.